Loving Sairam, Dr. V Shankar, the Sri Satya Sai Global Council of Trinidad and Tobago lovingly welcomes you to the series Awake, Unite and Inspire. We are extremely blessed, honored and privileged through the grace and blessings of our beloved Bhagwan to have you once again as our guest on this evening's program. So Dr. Shankar, Swami has said, only in the depths of silence can the voice of God be heard. Can you expand on this particular teaching?
Sairam, Brother Faiz, and loving Sairam to all of you. Very happy Ramadan and very happy Easter Sunday to all of you. It is indeed a great pleasure to be with Brother Faiz and you all. The quotation you just said, only in the depth of silence can the voice of God be heard, is a very, very profound statement. This particular statement tells us what the goal of life is. Not only that, it gives us the tools. Two important key words in that: the depth of silence, and other one is voice of God. See, silence represents the majestic presence of consciousness. Just like the color blue signifies the depth of the ocean or the sky, the silence signifies the mystery and beauty of the Lord. Anybody who has tasted silence a little bit will not venture to speak one extra word, extra thought, and do one extra action. Even Lord Shiva, in his most magnificent aspect, is worshipped as Dakshinamurti, the god of silence. But unfortunately, we are surrounded by noise, chatter, physical, mental, and emotional, which prevents us from experiencing this silence. Even in the Bible, it says, "Be still, know that I am God." That "be still" is requiring silence as a prerequisite to recognize the presence of God. In Islam, it is said there are 99 names of God. So Al-Rahim, the merciful, or Al-Malik, the supreme master. They keep chanting the names, and when it comes to the 100th name, what do? They keep silent. Because God is beyond name, beyond form. The only thing that befits the Lord is silence. You can only truly worship the Lord in silence, appreciate him in silence. In fact, I remember in the second interview or something, I was telling you an experience with Bhagwan when he asked us to come in. We were with him and Swami said, "Shankar, don't ask any question. We are all going to be silent for 45 minutes. And Swami did give us the bliss of silence. He was telling how important silence is. See, there is a famous Upanishad called Kathopanishad. In this Upanishad, a young boy, Nachiketa, to the realm of death. Yama is the Lord of death. And he asks him a daring question. He said, people talk about death differently. Some people say after death, that is the end. The person is dead and is gone. Others say that the person lives on, only the body dies. tell me what is the truth. While explaining the spiritual teachings in this profound dialogue, Yama told him, I am going to share with you two secrets. He said, the first secret is God resides in the heart of the devotee, in the cave of the heart of the devotee, as Angushta Matra, a thumb-sized light, glowing, brilliant. In fact, Swami told us when we were with him in Kodaikanal, light, the blue light, like a thunder, exists between the 9th and 12th vertebrae. And Yama continued, the second secret is, if you want to have a vision, have an experience of this presence of God as a light within you, the easiest sadhana is Om. See, if you look at the word Om, it is A, U, Im. Om. So A represents the wakeful state, U represents the dream state, represents the deep sleep state. And how does it end? Silence. And then, of course, in the Soham Japa, the breath, it breathes in, Soham. And that there also, it ends with silence. So we are breathing in God and breathing out love. So this Om, which represents silence, and the feeling of silence is very, very important. Even Patanjali Maharishi in the Yoga Sutra says, Yoga Chitta Vritti Nirodha. True yoga is being in that exuberance of silence when there are no thought waves. Then comes the next, though, the voice of God. In fact, whenever we used to go to Swami, from 1982 to 2011, we used to visit Swami twice a year at least, sometimes 3 or 4 times. Every time we went straight to Puttaparthi, spent time with Swami, and came back to California. Once we were talking, we developed a desire to go to Shirdi. So we were talking amongst us in the room. Then we said, let's go to Shirdi. Let's extend our trip by 2 days. We go to Shirdi. Immediately, a medallion of Shirdi Baba appeared next to us on the floor. Nothing was there. Next day, Swami called us for interview. Then Swami said, why do you want to go to Shirdi? Satya Sai is Shirdi Sai. That's why I gave you the sign. The extra 2 days you plan, stay with Swami. So similarly, whenever we wanted to go to Sringeri or somewhere, Swami will say, no, it's raining too much. Stay with Swami. So after 2011, when we made a trip to India, this time we ventured to visit some temples. So we went to a town called Vaidishwaran Kovil, which means the temple of healing. So when we went to the temple, this temple is dedicated to God called Dhanvantri, the god of medicine. And all the Ayurveda, all the Vedic medicine came from him. So in that temple, we were a little late. It's almost lunchtime. We were rushing into the temple, into the Garbhagraha, the Sanctum Sanctorum. We met the chief priest. He said, I would like to help you, but I have some urgent work. I will have my deputy help you. Then they looked for the deputy. He was also missing. Then they looked around, and there was one man was sitting in a corner under a pillar, near a pillar. And they called him. They said, help them, do puja for them. So he came. I didn't notice him first. He came. He did the puja nicely. And then we came out. But he was different. He was not like the regular priests who hanker for money and who give you so many instructions, this, that. He quietly did the puja, and when he came out, he went and sat in his corner and went into meditation. So I had to go and wake him up. I said, Panditji, I have to pay you. He said, oh, I forgot. I said, how much should I pay you? He said, give me whatever you want. I don't want anything. Then when he stood up and he was talking to me in the sunlight, I looked at his face. It was effulgent. And his eyes were shining, sparkling. So I gave him the money and took a few steps and came away. And then I said, my God, I'm meeting such an amazing person. I should ask at least a few words of spiritual advice from him. So I went back to him. He was again sitting in meditation. I disturbed him. I said, please excuse me, but I want to ask you something. I said, you are not like the other priests. Something is very special about you. Your face is effulgent. Your eyes are sparkling. What is the secret? This man, young man, smiled. He said, you have seen through the facade. You have recognized me. He said, I do this job only to feed my stomach. All the other time, I'm meditating on God. People think I'm a crazy person. I'm a lazy person. I maintain that impression. But you have recognized me. I should answer your question. He said, from very young age, I have been chanting the Gayatri mantra. He said, when you chant the Gayatri mantra, or when you chant any mantra for that matter, that induces divinity in every cell of your body. So eventually, when the Gayatri mantra becomes Om, that Om leads to silence. So, my dear son, the secret is being connected with God all the time. And God Himself will guide you. So, some years later, when we visited Swami, when I'm going back, the time we had the silent, being in silent presence in Swami, if a year later when he visited, Swami told me, Shankar, you're coming here to stay with Swami for 10 days, 15 days, and I give you a few interviews. I talk to you in the veranda. How long are you going to be satisfied with this little interaction with Swami? Don't you want to be connected with Swami all the time? I said, yes, Swami. How can I do that? He said, I am in your heart. I am talking to you all the time. Become silent and learn to listen to my voice with it. So I went back and I couldn't recognize Swami's presence within me. So when I came back, I said, Swami, I tried to listen to your voice within, but I couldn't hear anything. Swami said, hey, I am talking to you all the time, but you are also talking. There's so much mental chatter. Become quiet and you will recognize me. He said, you will hear the Sai Antarvani. So when we go into silence, should not be ego-based silence. The ego has to be kept out. In fact, I remember many years ago, a Sai devotee was asking me repeatedly the question, why shouldn't we wear shoes or sandals in the center? Why do we have to keep it outside? And then he said, show me one place in Swami's discourses that he has said you should not wear shoes or sandals. I told him it is taken for granted. It's out of respect. Then he didn't accept. So one day I accidentally opened the Bible in the Old Testament, Genesis, and there I found out the voice telling Moses, Moses, remove your sandals. You are standing in holy ground. So the silence is the holy ground inside our heart. When we go there, we have to remove the sandals of our ego. So this statement by Bhagavan is so important that only in the depth of silence can the voice be heard. And every Sai devotee, we have to practice silence. We have to connect with Sai and hear his presence, know his presence within, and hear his command from within. That's my understanding.
Dr. Shankar, as you said, There is so much of physical noise, mental chatter, emotional disturbance. How does one acquire that inner peace so that one can feel and experience the God consciousness?
Very good question. We already talked about it. Swami says in this age, the easiest way to acquire is chanting God's name, chanting Gayatri, chanting Om, and doing the Soham jap. Because when you breathe in, if you focus on the Soham, focus on the Om, focus on the mantra, automatically the mind becomes quiet. See, what we do is we do multitasking like anything else. Chanting mantra has become a ritual. While we chanting, mind is wandering. We give only 5% or 2% of the mind. We have to give 100% of our mind and heart. Then the mantra will bring that silence in us.
I remember Swami saying that you take the Japamala and you say Om Shri Sai Ram, Om Shri Sai Ram, or the Gayatri Mantra, and you may do that 108 times. But out of that 108 times, there are probably 2 times when the mind is fixed on God. So then it requires constant, conscious, loving practice to attain that state of silence where we can hear that voice of God.
Exactly. That's why we have to keep the sandals of the ego out. Whenever we do sadhana, whatever service we do, the ego is always there. That is the problem.
And how important is it? Because I remember Swami also saying, rather than sitting doing jap and meditation and your mind is scattered everywhere, it's better you get up and go and do some seva. That will bring greater benefit.
Yes, okay. The ego is a very difficult thing to handle. We need to develop humility. For that, seva is very, very important. Karma yoga is very, very important. See, when we talk about Swami, we are all aware of many, many devotees who have received so much grace from Swami. Many, many boys who have been very close to Swami. Many people who articulate the teachings of Swami. But I want to tell you, the unsung heroes of the Sai movement are the Sati Sai Sevadal devotees. Not the ones who are prominent, but the ones whom nobody knows about. Because they have surrendered everything to him and they don't even expect. They don't even they never used to get even a look from Swami, a smile from Swami, but they did their service. You will nowhere you will find such dedicated servants of the Lord. See, that is very, very important because when I remember when I was growing up, I was very inspired by 2 people. This was before I came to know Swami. One is Swami Vivekananda. I was so inspired by him. And I always thought I wanted to become a sannyasi, wander all over, renounce the world. That was my goal. I was equally inspired by Mahatma Gandhi. I used to think how he only wears 2 pieces of clothes and he spends all his time serving society. I want to be like him. I want to be very simple. So when I was doing my graduate studies, doing my PhD program, I only had 3 pairs of dresses. Now I have 50. Am I any more happy? No, happiness has nothing to do with the number of clothes we have, the palatial house we live, what kind of luxuries we have. So, but then I had one more desire, and that was the problem. I loved science. I wanted to be engaged in science, and find the truth about the cosmos. So when you have multiple desires, you don't succeed in anything. But at that time, when I went to see Swami, I observed these Sevadal people. And I said, I want to be like them. I want to join the Sri Satya Sai Sevadal. And that is the greatest investment I made in my life. That I worked hand in hand with CEOs, bank managers, janitors, those who clean the lavatories, and rickshawalas, taxi drivers. But they were all common with one goal, to serve society in the name of Swami, seeing Swami, because that is the only thing, that is the first fundamental thing that will put a huge dent on our ego. Only then we can develop devotion and practice bhakti yoga. After that, only we would have sufficient detachment to inquire, who am I, to practice jnana yoga.
And as you so rightly said, that can also induce that peace of mind where we can know and feel the presence of God.
Yes,
through
exactly.
the yoga. So, Dr. Shankar, thank you so much for sharing. That was so beautiful and enlightening. And I remember Swami saying that every day you should take a little time and spend in the silence. And as with anything else, to gain success, there must be consistency of practice. So in the beginning, it might be difficult, thoughts might be scattered all over. But when you continuously practice, after a while, success will come. So, Dr. Shankar, in a couple of weeks, we will be observing Aradhana, what we call the Mahasamadhi of the avatar of the age. How should a devotee observe this very sacred observance?
Absolutely. The Aradhana Mahotsava, as it is called, is a time spent in expressing our gratitude. Because God is eternal. He was never born, he never dies. So it is superfluous to talk about Mahasamadhi, but the body comes and goes, but the Atma lives on forever. It's not only true for Swami, it's true for all of us. But the word Aradhana has a wide spectrum of meanings. The simplest meaning is it's an offering. The grandest meaning is it is Sharanagati, surrender. Prapatti, unconditional surrender. And Atmanivedanam, total merger. So I want to think a little bit about the significance of offering. What do we mean by offering? Suppose a stranger comes to the house. We may offer him a cup of coffee. Can we call it Aradhana? No, it is just a gesture. It is a courtesy. There is no feeling in it. There is no depth in it. It's just done casually. Swami used to mention that people go to temples, they go to pilgrimages just like a gesture, just like a courtesy. They feel that they are doing God a favor by visiting him. They are not going for God's darshan. They go there to give a brief darshan to the God. Swami once joked, see, they travel for several days to go to a place of pilgrimage. And if it's a busy place, popular place, they stand in queue for several hours. But how much time they spend in the inner sanctum? Even if the temple is empty, how much time? They spend a few minutes, few seconds, or if they do puja, maybe 20 minutes. And then what do? They spend more time in the canteen where prasad is available and other interesting things in the place of pilgrimage. He said our ancients built these temples not as places of entertainment and sightseeing. See, if you notice the temple in India, especially, they are built representing the human body, the 5 sheets of the human body, and the 7 chakras of the human body. There are usually 5 courtyards, one within the other. So each courtyard has a stone bench all across, and there are idols of devotees and gods. So visiting a temple should be a full day affair, half a day affair, that you go there, sit, quieten yourself down. Go to the next level, quieten yourself further. When you reach the inner sanctum, you should be in the most possible framework of mind that you're experiencing silence, that you can receive the grace of God and hear the voice of God. See, nowadays temples are bustling with activity. So much money, the priests are interested in collecting money. But of course, the vibrations are still there. So many devotees have visited. So the same way, Aradhana is something we have to go within. It is not a courtesy. It has to be dedicated. In this sense, it's kind of ironic that we are offering something to God. Look at this picture. On the one hand, man who has nothing, who owns nothing, who is nothing, but who wants everything, is offering something to God who has everything, who owns everything, who is everything, and who wants nothing. So this is a paradox. This is kind of silly that we even think that we can offer God something. So that is not the meaning of Aradhana. In fact, in the Satya Sai Vahini and also in 1973 Summer Showers, Swami explains 4 types of Aradhana. He says, Satyavadi Aradhana, Angavadi Aradhana, Anyavadi Aradhana, Nidhanavadi Aradhana. He says 4 types of offering you can make to God. Satyavadi Aradhana, that is the highest in the sense that every atom, every cell, every electron, every molecule is permeating with divine presence. Recognizing this is the highest Aradhana. The next level is recognizing this Angavati. Anga means parts. In every aspect of nature, in the 5 elements, in the hills, in the forest, in the ocean, in the blue sky, divinity is present. Recognizing that is the next level, Angavati Aradhana. Anyavati Aradhana means those who are not capable of recognizing God in every speck of creation, those who are not capable of recognizing God in the power of nature, they worship an idol, they go to a temple, and that is okay. That is Anyavadi Aradhana. And Nidhanavadi Aradhana, even for those to help with their worshipping an idol, worshipping another human being as a god, there are techniques given that 9 forms of worship or 8 types of yoga like that. So that is Nidhanavadi Aradhana. But another beautiful explanation Swami has given about Aradhana is in Gita Vahini, where he explains the brilliant idea that Krishna expresses that Patram Pushpam Phalam Toyam. For God. What do you offer God who has everything? You can offer a leaf, Krishna says. You can offer me a leaf. You can offer me a flower. You can offer me a fruit, or you can offer me water. Now, what does it really mean? The way Swami explains. Suppose you put a seed in the sand, it grows as a plant. What is the first thing that comes from a plant? A leaf. What comes after the leaf? A flower. What happens to the flower? It becomes a fruit. What is in the fruit? The juice of the fruit. So the seed of desire, the vasanas, the Vishaya vasanas, worldly tendencies, which brought us to this earth, this body has grown as a plant. Yet the actions by the body are like the leaf, which has to be austerity. We have to practice austerity and use it for the sake of others. That is patram, or the leaf. Then the flower, through that karma yoga, the seva we talked about, we will develop devotion, and that devotion will blossom as a flower. And that flower will become a fruit, because with devotion, when we do action, it becomes nishkamya karma. That is, it will become a selfless activity. And that is the bhakti yoga and karma yoga combined becomes nishkamya karma yoga. And then finally, it leads to the water. It's interpreted as tears of joy. It is also the premarasam, the juice of love, jnanarasam, the juice of wisdom. And that should be the final offering to the Lord. So as devotees, we should offer our entire life. Every moment, my body, my breath, my energy, my intellect, everything is your gift, God. Nothing belongs to me. Because one devotee said, Swami, I want to offer my body, mind, everything. Swami laughed and he said, my money, everything I want to give you. He said, offer me something you have control over. You have no control over your body. You don't even know. You don't even eat properly. You don't breathe properly. You don't sleep properly. You have no control over your mind. Your mind is thoughts are wandering all over. You have no control over your money either. The bank you have deposited may go bankrupt. A thief may steal it. The fire may destroy your property, or government may put tax and confiscate it. Don't offer me something which you have no control, which doesn't belong to you. Offer me the love. Even that is the gift. I gave it to you. So as devotees on this Aradhana Mahotsava day, we have to remember we are here because of him. We breathe because of him. We live because of him. And everything we owe to him. That is the feeling with which we should celebrate the Aradhana Mahotsava.
Thank you, Dr. Shankar. Recently, we celebrated Hanuman Jayanti. And even in Trinidad right now, there's still continuing celebrations of one of the greatest bhaktas, devotees of the Lord. But why is Hanuman considered the greatest devotee of the Lord? What lessons can we learn from such a bhakta?
Question. Hanuman is an example of how to live life as an aradhana to the Lord. Hanuman was an ideal karma yogi. He was an ideal bhakti yogi. He was an ideal raja yogi. He was an ideal jnana yogi. He knew everything. He had mastered the scriptures. But he was so humble. He never boasted himself. Even when Ravana asked, who are you? He didn't say, I am Hanuman, who can fly in the sky. I can become so big. No, he said, I am the humble servant of Lord Rama. That was his attitude. See, when we were with Swami in Kodaikanal in 92, Swami spent several days talking about Ramayana, and especially Hanuman. Swami said, do you know why Hanuman is special? He said, when Rama's father, Dasharatha, and 3 wives, Kaushalya, Sumitra, and Kaikeyi, Dasharatha had no male children. I didn't know that Dasharatha had a daughter called Shanta. That's the first time I learned from Swami. Of course, monarchy, they are obsessed with male chauvinism. They have to have a son to carry on. It is foolishness, but that's how society lived. So he did a special yagna. It's called Putra Kameshti, which means a yagna done with the special intent of bringing forth the son. So when this was performed, the divine angel brought a payasam, a nectar, the essence of Shiva from the heavens. And they handed it over to sage Vasishta, who was performing the yagna. Vasishta gave it to Dasaratha. He said, give it to your wives. Let them drink this and they will be blessed with sons. So Dasharatha gave it to Kaushalya, his eldest wife. So she took 3 silver cups and divided the nectar, payasam, in 3 vessels. Kaushalya drank her portion. No, they didn't yet. So they kept it. So Sumitra, the middle wife, felt, see, Kaushalya is the first wife. Her son will become the king. Kaikeyi, the last wife, is his favorite. Her son may become the king. I am in between. Even if I get a son, he's never going to become a king. Why should I drink this? So she disrespected that divine gift. At that instance, an eagle came and took that, grabbed that vessel and flew away. So she became worried. So Kaushalya and Kaikeyi took their share of 1/3, and they divided into 3 again and gave to Sumitra. That's why Kaushalya, Rama was born to Kaushalya, Bharata was born to Kaikeyi, and Sumitra had twins. One half essence of Rama and half essence of Bharata. That's why when the children were kept separate, Lakshmana and Shatrughna were crying. So Vasishta said, put Lakshmana in the same crib as Rama and Shatrughna in the same crib as Bharata, because they were the same essence. But what Swami asked, do you know what happened to that other thing, the eagle, the kite took? It went into the forest and then kept it near a forest queen. Her name is Anjana Devi. She drank that essence, and can you believe the child that was born was Hanuman? So Hanuman was as divine as Rama, but if you believe in mathematics, then thirds were divided into 4 between Rama, Lakshmana, Shatrughan, and Bharata. But Hanuman is 1/3 of the essence. In that sense, he had the Shiva aspect in him more. So many people think Ramayana is the story of Rama. That is Paramatma. Other people think Ramayana is a story of Sita, the Jivatma. Other people think Ramayana is the story of Ravana, the ego. But Swami said Ramayana is the story of Hanuman, the ideal devotee. And the unity between Hanuman and Rama, everything else was enacted so that they can be united. And Swami said Hanuman was so innocent, like a child. So when they came back, it was time in the night for Rama and Sita to go to their room to say good night. So everybody took their blessings from Rama and left. But Hanuman wouldn't leave Rama. He also entered the bedroom. He is like innocent, like a child. Rama said, Hanuman, you cannot come. You go, I'll see you tomorrow morning. No, Lord, I cannot be separated from you. Then when he saw Sita, he said, if I cannot come, why is Sita here? And he doesn't know the ways of the world. So Rama did not know how to explain. So Rama said, look, Hanuman, do you see Sita? She is wearing the sindoor, this red dot on her forehead. That qualifies her to be with me in this room. Immediately, Hanuman stormed away. He went to the temple. He took a pot full of sindoor and spread it on the ground, rolled all over, and he became red throughout the body. And then he knocked the door. When Rama opened, he couldn't hold his laughter. Here is Hanuman red all through. Then he said, Rama, she only has a little dot. My whole body is filled with sindoor. Now I can come. That was his devotion. In this context, I want to tell you something very important. See, we are all connected. We have lived through hundreds of thousands of births. We are connected with every religion. We are connected with every aspect of divinity. Rama, Krishna, Jesus, Buddha, Allah, everybody. Swami gave me an experience to show me how I was connected with Rama, Sita, Lakshmana, and Hanuman. Amazing vision I want to share with you. One day, I went to the veranda in the afternoon. See, I used to go, I will be the first one to go to the veranda and the last one to leave. Because when we were with Swami, I wanted to spend maximum time there. If Swami is not there, I used to sit there and try to meditate. So I was there. And one Prashantilayam senior person, resident, also was there. We were sitting there. It's around 3:30. Swami usually will give darshan around 4:45 or 5. So 3:30, suddenly the door opened. Swami looked at me and he says, Ramdu Yakadra, Telugu, which means Rama, come here. It's not Rama. And the person sitting next is not Rama. So we both looked behind. Is anybody else there? And Swami has closed the door. Then I was asking, who was Swami calling? It looked like he was looking at me, but who was he calling? We kept quiet. Little later, Swami opened the door again. He again looked at me and said, Rama, come here. And then he left the door open. And I didn't know. If it was not me, I am not supposed to go. How can I assume it is me? Then I asked a friend. He said, maybe it is you. He said, no, I cannot go because I am a Prashantilayam resident. If I make a mistake, he will kick me out of Prashantilayam. You visitors, Swami is lenient. Even if you make a mistake, Swami will forgive you. You go there. So I went, peeped in. Swami said, come. So I was supposed to be there. I went and sat. And then Swami was talking about Rama. Swami was talking about Lakshmana, Sita, that devotion. He said how so many devotees were there. But Sita was a great devotee. Lakshmana was a great devotee. Bharata was a great devotee. Vibhishana was a great devotee. But Hanuman was very special. That's why he said, everybody died and went with Rama, but Hanuman left behind. Do you know why? Because Hanuman represents the prema, love of Rama. Even after Rama's form left, even if Rama's name is forgotten, the love of Rama will remain with us forever as Hanuman. So that night I came to the room. Then I had, in the early morning, a dream, a powerful dream. Actually, it was a vision. In the dream, I saw an empty altar. There was some lamps, and then there is incense in the background. It was like a mystical. I was watching this empty altar. The idols of Rama, Krishna, Sita, and slowly came up. Very beautiful idols. I was admiring these idols, and suddenly the impossible happened. The idols became alive. The eyes opened. Swami gave a vision of Rama, Sita, Lakshmana, and Hanuman. But one difference. If you notice in the temples and all the pictures, Hanuman will be on the left of Rama. In the vision I had, Hanuman was on the right next to Sita. I remembered what Swami was telling. Hanuman considered Sita as his mother. He was very close to him. So Hanuman is an ideal example for us in spirituality. whether it is Karma Yoga, Bhakti Yoga, Raja Yoga, or Jnana Yoga.
Dr. Shankar, that was absolutely beautiful, inspiring, and so touching as you described Hanuman and his qualities and why he was so precious and close to Sri Ram. What an example for humanity, for all of us to emulate. Dr. Shankar, a very frequently used saying in the Sai circles on Seva, of which you just said Hanuman was an embodiment of the, the perfect karma yogi, the true servant of Sri Ram. Swami says, hands that help are holier than lips that pray. Service to man is service to God. 1 hour of community service is better than 1 month of meditation. Why does Swami place so much emphasis on selfless service?
A good question. See, Swami always talks about 3H: head, heart, and hand. As you said, hand that serve is better than the lips that pray. But fundamental aspect is the heart that feels. If the feeling in the heart of love and humility is not there, what you serve doesn't reach God. People do social service. If there is a desire for name and fame, for promoting oneself, that service is not truly service. See, God does so many things, but he's invisible. So the way we do service should be nobody even should know what we are doing. It is between us and God. So in that sense, if we have the right attitude, without any doership, if we can do service, that is far superior to meditation. Because why do we do meditation? So that we can improve ourselves. In service, we forget ourselves. Only when we know how to forget ourselves, we can evolve within, we can reach the state of silence. That's why Swami gives tremendous emphasis, because many times people who come to do who am I inquiry or come to do meditation, they end up becoming lazy. And only very, very few have the capacity to truly meditate, to truly inquire. Everybody cannot be a Ramana Maharshi. Everybody cannot be a Mother Teresa. So we have to start somewhere, and it's better to do work. It's better to do work, better to be humble. Because Swami said, I have created the whole world there to control your ego. So that's why accept that it is I am who is condemning you, is I am who is controlling you, because you are not capable of controlling your ego yourself. So bend down and serve everybody. Bend the body, mend the senses. Only then you can end the mind.
And then Dr. Shankar, Swami once said that when you serve another, never feel that you are serving another person. Thank the person for giving you the opportunity to serve so that you can reform and transform yourself.
Exactly, exactly. And I was not planning to share this experience with you because I've shared many places, but I didn't share it in your channel. Swami taught me. This happened in Bombay. Experiences I want to share with you. So many listeners, you have heard it before, so please forgive me if I'm repeating it. You might have heard twice, or I don't know. So in 1974, 75, 74, I went from Bangalore to Bombay to continue my work in the Tata Institute of Fundamental Research. So I was part of the Seva Dal in Bombay. So I went to, I was in Bangalore. So in Bombay also, I wanted to join the Seva Dal. Months after I arrived there, I heard that Swami is visiting Dharmakshetra. So I wanted to be part of the Seva Dal there. So I said, please give me some work. I was in the Bangalore Seva Dal. I want to be part of something. Every work is taken. No work is available for you. You can be a devotee there. I said, I don't feel comfortable. I want to do something. They said, we have only one job available. Hire janitorial service to take care of the sanitation work. If you want, you can be an assistant to one of them. Actually, one other person who volunteered, he used to be with Mahatma Gandhi. So he used to be a head volunteer, and they had a group of professional people taking care of keeping the lavatories clean, keeping the place spick and span during Swami's visit. So I gladly accepted the job. So I was doing that, and I had no chance for darshan for Swami. So I used to stand near the lavatories, and whenever it need to be cleaned, I will join with them and clean the place. Swami stayed for 5 days that time in Dharmakshetra. 4 days I had no darshan. I will hear bhajans or talks by Bhagwan in a distance. On the 5th day, Swami, there were two paths. He can come on a main path walking by car, or we can come through steps. He never uses the steps, which is near where the lavatories were there. So I was standing there. Swami, that last morning, he came down the steps. And instead of going straight, I want to tell you the heart of Bhagwan. He was walking on thorn, was talking on dry grass. As I was watching, those days I never used to look up Swami as my head was down. I could see Swami's feet coming towards me. He walked 300 feet away from his path with the floral path. He didn't walk on the floral path. He walked on this thorn and rocks. His feet came closer and closer and closer to me. And I was still looking down, looking at his feet, and I didn't dare to look at him. You know what Swami did? He bent down and looked at my face. Then we both lifted our head, smiled at each other. Not a word was exchanged. I mean, it touched my heart, as the word avatar means descent. When we serve his creation, his love will pour on us. His Swami is the first servant of society. So this happened. During the next trip, when Swami came, he brought with him an octogenarian devotee, Tirumalachar, who was the Kula Guru of Venkatagiri Maharaja. And there were so many stories I don't want to tell, but he was not doing well. So he needed to be taken care throughout. So he will get up 4 times during the night to go to the bathroom. So I had a bedpan. So I was helping him. So in the 4 days, I had no sleep. And I used to take a bath in the garden outer pipe, but I used to prepare hot water bath for him and serve him, etc. The last day I was running 103-degree temperature. I was shivering. And a thought occurred to me, maybe today I won't take the cold shower. Maybe I can take the hot shower inside because I'm the one preparing the bath for him. Then my conscience told my mind, my ego, Chichi, you come here as servant, play your role. Do not take anything for granted. This is a chance given by God to you to serve this beautiful devotee. So I went to the garden, turned the pipe on. It was so cold. I pulled my hand out. I was shivering. It is cold. My hand was paining. Then I washed my clothes. Next time I put my hand, I again pulled out because it was steaming hot. The entire water was boiling. Swami has turned it into a hot bath. I quietly took the shower, came back. The last day Swami came in, come and talk to Trimalachar. He came straight to me, took my hand and asked, put his fingers over that, where it pained. He said, did it pain too much this morning? I said, Kya pass kiya? What have you passed? I said, nothing, Swami. So, nothing will please Swami than the simplest act of service as a child in innocence we can do for him. This is the dearest and closest to him. Then all the hours of bhajans we conduct, the meditations we do, or the enquiries we do.
Thank you, Dr. Shankar. That was so moving and touching. The love and the compassion of Mother Sai, who has the love of 1,000 mothers. And two beautiful examples you shared. Thank you so much for sharing that. To show us the love and compassion that he has for each and every one of us. And why he has descended so that we can ascend. Another frequently used term in the Sai circles, and we have heard this particular practice enunciated in the various scriptures, to surrender everything to God. Nishkama karma, where the devotee makes the effort but surrenders the fruits thereof at the feet of the Lord. What does it mean to surrender everything to God? What truly is surrender? What are we really surrendering? If we are already God, if we are already embodiments of the divine. There's been so much discussion on this particular topic. What is your perspective on it?
It is a very tough and a very profound question. See, we think we know so many things. We think we know so many people. But in truth, we don't know anything. We don't know anybody. The only thing we know is our ego. We are interacting all the time with our ego. No one else, nothing else. If the ego tells you go and do this, you grab it, we grab. If ego tells this is your friend, we consider him as friend. If ego tells this is your enemy, we consider him an enemy. We are literally slaves to this ego. Or in this bubble of this ego, that is this Maya. We think we are. Everybody is confounded by this ego. Moksha, liberation is breaking free from this ego. But how do we do it? In fact, Swami used to tell a story. There was a marriage. So suddenly one man appeared and went to the bridegroom's party. He said, "You're not doing this right. The bride's party, the bridegroom people are not happy. The food is not right. This arrangement is not right." And so they assumed he must be an uncle of the bridegroom. So he was torturing them and they were pleasing him. And the same person went to the bridegroom's party and he said, "The bride's party is not happy with you. You're not reciprocating with enough gifts." He also tortured them, and they, thinking that he's the uncle of the bride, they were trying to please him. When things became impossible, they both talked to each other. Who is this man who are acting so important? They said, "We don't know." They found out he's an imposter taking advantage of them. The moment they started the investigation, the uncle ran away. Swami said, "Your ego is like that. It has no power on its own. It borrows the power from the Atma and it controls your mind, it controls your intellect, it controls your senses and totally dominates you. So the fight between the conscience and the willpower against the ego is like the fight between David and Goliath. It's an impossible task. How can we overcome this? And Swami says there is a trick. This ego has a weakness. See, it's all of us have the weakness. Nobody wants to be seen as a bad person. Even the worst person doesn't want to be called a bad person. We want to look good. We want everybody to praise us. But deep down, we may be thinking bad and doing bad. But we want to live this hypocrisy, this facade we create. So what happens is, instead of considering ego as an enemy, get a friend into spiritual sadhana so that the ego may feel good about itself. Why? That while the ego becomes weak, you develop sufficient willpower to challenge the ego. This happened. Like Tulsidas was a great devotee of Rama, but he was fond of his wife. After marriage, he forgot about Rama. And he had gone to attend a funeral to some other place. Wife had gone to her father's place. He became furious. During the storm, he jumped into the Ganges. He held on to a corpse which were floating away and went to the other side, climbed a tree, went into their house, and then wife was disgusted with him. She said, "Aren't you ashamed? This body is temporary, is filled with foul smell. Why are you interested in this?" Instead of saying Ratna, Ratna all the time, if you had said Rama, Rama, you would have been liberated. The ego of Tulsidas, who was so fond of her, suddenly got so deeply hurt. He gave up everything, ran to Kashi, and he declared, "My wife is my guru," and then became Tulsidas and composed the great Ramcharitamanasa. So the ego has to be challenged. In fact, the Kathopanishad says the Atma chooses the one to whom it wants to give the grace. So when the ego to pretend to be good, while it continues its evil ways, if it is challenged, it will give up. It has to happen. That moment of epiphany of recognizing that God is everything, I am nothing. See, generally we think, about destiny. We are all afraid of destiny. We think destiny is pushing us into this world. It's pushing us into future births, this weakness, that weakness. And we think we have to use our free will to escape destiny. Swami taught me a totally different perspective. Swami said, you know what? It is your destiny to realize God. It is the destiny of everyone to merge with God. You are misusing your free will to delay it as long as possible. So I think surrender is use free will. Instead of delaying the glorious unification, the unity with God, union with God, merge that free will into the divine will. And that's what I understand as surrender.
Thank you very much, Dr. Shankar. The next question, again, another frequently used teaching of Swami. He said, first comes self-confidence. That is the foundation. Then comes self-satisfaction. It is like the wall. Next comes self-sacrifice. It is like the roof. Finally, the house is complete and the indweller is installed inside. That is self-realization. It starts with self-confidence and it ends with realizing the self. Can you discuss this particular teaching of Swami?
This is a very, very so many beautiful sayings, and this is a beautiful diction. It's very special to me because when Swami first made this during the 1973 summer course, I was there, I heard it. I was thrilled hearing this. Without confidence, you cannot do anything. What is self-confidence? Many times we say it is impossible to do it. This lack of confidence. Don't think it is impossible. Think I am possible. You have to feel I can do it. For instance, how does Manute Bol, is that the one who was the Olympic runner? Who was that Olympic record holder? I forget, from
You
Jamaica.
said Usain Bolt.
Usain Bolt, not Manute Bol. Usain Bolt. How did he run the fastest? Because he had the self-confidence in him that I can do it. He trained for it. If you don't have a self-confidence that I can do it, we will never be able to do anything. That's why the Mahavakyas are given. I am God. I am nothing but God. Remember the aphorisms we talked about the last time. That is the one that builds the self-confidence. But truly, self-confidence is confidence in the self. See, we have confidence in ourselves. We have confidence in the body. We have confidence in our bodily strength, physical strength, the strength of the energy, the strength of the mind, strength of the intellect. But none of them can help. Only the strength of the self, the Atma, that has to come. That is the meaning of self-confidence. Self-confidence. What erodes us, the self-confidence, is our desires. We want to satisfy this desire, that desire. See, we have a finite amount of energy. We have to focus everything on the goal we have. But if we are distracted, we have for pleasures of the body, for food, for this, for fame, for power, for property, if we take energy away, the self-confidence gets eroded. But what we think as happiness, what we think as satisfaction, we think, I ate a laddu, so I am happy. But the laddu did not give the happiness. When the laddu desire stopped the gap, there was a sense of satisfaction. There was no desire. So true meaning of self-satisfaction means overcoming desires. Desires. So satisfaction only in the self. So this self-confidence is the foundation. If the foundation is weak, everything will collapse. And self-satisfaction is the wall, and self-sacrifice is the roof. In the Kaivalya Upanishads, it says, Na karmana prajaya dhanena tyagainaika amrtatvamansa. Activity, not having progeny, not having wealth, that cannot give you ultimate happiness. Sacrifice alone. But this sacrifice, we cannot just talk, we have to show it in action. See, when you see a house, what is the first thing you see? You see the roof. So we have to practice that nididhyasana, that selfless action have to be shown. Only then in the heart, the idol of the Lord can be installed. That is self-realization. So this is a very beautiful saying, but I want to add another story to it. When Swami brought that saintly person, Tirmalachar, to Bombay at the same time, he was a great yogi. He used to levitate. So I heard about it. Then I asked him, Sir, can you teach me about yoga? I was so much interested in learning about yoga. Then he said, yes, I have learned yoga properly. I have developed so many insight into it. I will teach you. So he started telling, this is what Muladhara Chakra means. This is what Swadhisthana Chakra means. He said Swadhisthana means Swa Adhisthana, the natural resting place of desire. He says all desires are seeking temporary happiness, leading to the highest desire, which is supreme happiness. While he was explaining this, Swami came into the room. Then Swami teased him, oh, Tirmalachar, have you become a guru? You are teaching him about yoga, Ashtanga yoga. Then he became scared. I said, no, Swami, I am not a guru. I won't teach him anymore. Swami said, no. I will myself teach him when the time is right. He left it like that. So many years later, when we came to visit Swami, Swami said, do you remember Tirmalachar? I said, yes, Swami. Swami said he passed away recently. He was remembering you even during the last moments, but you have forgotten. After Swami left his physical body, in a dream he came. He asked me, do you remember Tirmalachar? I said, yes, Swami. Then Swami said, do you know he wanted to teach you yoga? I stopped. I will teach you the real essence of yoga, not the Hatha yoga interpretation. I shall tell you what is the true meaning of the 7 chakras. Swami said, self-confidence, that is Muladhara chakra. That is the basis. The next one, Swadhisthana chakra, is self-satisfaction. Your base desires, you get sick of, and you want the higher desires of devotion to God. Then you come to Manipuraka chakra, where is about accomplishment. But Swami said it is self-reliance. You should not rely on anybody. You should rely only on the self, Sai. Then he said next chakra is Anahata chakra, self-sacrifice. When you have self-confidence, when you are self-satisfied, when you are self-reliant, you will be able to sacrifice because you are not actually sacrificing. You are recognizing something higher, so lower things are automatically going down. Then you go to the Vishuddha chakra, the chakra of purity. That is self-inquiry. Only then you become qualified to inquire, who am I? And Swami said, by human effort, you can only go up to the Vishuddha chakra. Then you need to get the permission of the Divine Mother. Agneya means command. So that is self-surrender. You surrender yourself completely to the Divine Mother. And then you reach Sahasrara chakra, where Lord Shiva reigns supreme. That is self-realization. So the same 4, Swami expanded into 7, matching the chakras: self-confidence, self-satisfaction, self-reliance, self-sacrifice, self-inquiry, self-surrender, and self-realization.
My God, Dr. Shankar, that was so beautifully explained. And I love how you related it to the 7 chakras as Swami guided you and shared the information with you. So the very essence of who we seek was providing the knowledge and the awareness to you. How very fortunate, how very blessed you are to have received that directly from the very ocean of consciousness. So, Dr. Shankar, I know we have not included this as a question, but we are experiencing now the holy month of Ramadan, where it is one of the pillars of Islam. There are 5 fundamental pillars of Islam: prayer, zakat or charity, believing in the oneness of Allah, the declaration of faith, fasting, and at least once in a Muslim's lifetime to make the pilgrimage to Mecca. But I want to zero in on one of those principles to get your sharing on it. When I came into contact with Sri Satya Sai Baba in 1979 and became very attracted to his teachings, there arose in me a great conflict. I could not reconcile the form of Sai Baba with the fundamental belief in Islam that God is formless. So I went into the mosque and I prayed to Almighty Allah to show me who is this real, who is this Sai Baba. And I was guided back into the pages of the Holy Quran, where Allah says, Allah is closer to you than your jugular vein. So it means that he has to be within.
Yes.
So, Holy Prophet Muhammad, upon whom be peace, once said, he who knows himself knows God. But in the one of the fundamental principles is declaration of faith, that once you're a Muslim, you have to declare La ilaha illallah Muhammadur Rasulullah. There is no God but Allah, and the Holy Prophet Muhammad is his messenger. But the Sufis, the mystical men of Islam, interprets the same verse, not that there is no God but Allah, but that there is nothing but Allah. Kindly comment, and can we have a little discussion on this particular interpretation of the Sufis?
It's very beautiful, that prayer, La ilaha illallah Muhammad Rasulullah. Every Muslim is supposed to chant at the time of death, correct? They should remember it all the time, but especially the time when the breath leaves, no matter where they are, they should remember. The Bhagavad Gita says, the thought we have at the moment the life force is leaving decides our future, next birth. So we are supposed to chant Om or Om Shri Sai Ram, whatever. Chant. This is a very, very sacred practice. But will not remember in the last moment, because unless we practice. Because one merchant, Swami tells a story, Chinnakata, he named each son Rama, Krishna, Shiva, all the 5 or 4 children. Then he was in his deathbed. And they were all there. He said, where is Rama? Where is Krishna? And then he found out, if you're all here, who is minding the store? You have left it open. He died. So you cannot cheat God. You have to remember God all the time. And that's why all the sacred, there is no difference between any of these religions, first of all. In fact, even science, I want to tell you, everything is electromagnetic energy. But we have probes using, so this sound, microwave, radio wave, light, ultrasound, X-rays, cosmic rays. We have so many different rays, and they're all looking at cosmos. They're like 6 blind men looking at the elephant. If you look using sound waves, you will say cosmos is a huge sound. If you look through light, you will say it's full of sights. If you look through radio waves, it's just vibration which brings signals. If you look through X-rays, it's nothing but little bit atoms, lot of space in between. So even science doesn't have a complete picture. It uses the multispectral and tries to find out, but we don't even know where it ends. We don't know what is beyond cosmic rays. Similarly, the electromagnetic energy in the spiritual sense is emotional, mental energy is endless. No one can, that's why each philosophy, whether it is Advaita, whether it is Vishishta Advaita, whether it is Dvaita, whether it is Buddhism, Christianity, Islam, or even among Shaivism, Vaishnavism, Ganapatiyam, Shaktam, or non-believers, no one can comprehend God. In fact, if I remember, Muhammad's own father was a Vedic Pandit. He has composed Shiva Stotras. He had a family heirloom of a green emerald stone, Shivalingam. Perhaps that is what is in the Kaaba. There is a stone being worshipped. All connected. When God found out people became so much obsessed with rituals, one of the rishis became as Muhammad and brought this monotheistic felt. But the point is, when we say Allah is the supreme God, or Muhammad is the only messenger, we are missing the point. What is outside is inside. There is no world other than what we perceive. It is called Ajatavada. That is, only if there is an observer, there will be something observed. So these people will go to the extent, you see the universe during wakeful state. During the dream, you create your own universes. During deep sleep, you forget everything. When you get up, you think it is the same universe. It is not. Every second between two thoughts, there is a gap. The universe that existed before the gap is not the same universe that exists after the gap. There is only that one, the presence, divine presence everywhere, but they are all stitched up. Like even in TV, even in movie, the movie looks good. And I was fascinated when I was a little child. I looked at the film strip and I saw the same scene is repeating. But when you rotate 60 times, it looks like a real thing. The Sufis, the Vedantins tell us this universe are little frames. It's rapidly moving. You are fooling yourself. This apparent reality is real. It is not. That Allah is the Nirguna Brahman, who is absolutely pure, formless, nameless, attributeless. So all religions are telling the truth, but unfortunately, we have taken the ego along with us into the realm of silence, and we are ruining everything. If we have left the sandals of the ego outside, Islam, Christianity, Buddhism, Jainism, Zoroastrianism, all the Hindu faiths will feel that they are one and the same.
Thank you very much, Dr. Shankar. That was really wonderful and enlightening, showing the unity that exists amongst all the essential core of all religions and all teachings. And it reminded me while you were speaking about a statement from Jalaluddin Rumi, where he said, "You are not a drop in the ocean, you are the ocean in the drop."
Exactly. Exactly. Absolutely. And Rumi's poems are so outstanding. He said you have to be cooked first. You have to suffer. This all the process God is putting you through. He's making you ripe as an offering, as a prasadam to God. We are all prasadam to God.
Before we end, I want to go back to a statement that you made when we were talking about the ego. And you said that Swami said, there's a little trick that I want to share with you of how you can get the ego to be subservient and an instrument. And that is to make the ego your friend. So could you expand a little bit on that aspect of what Swami said?
It's exactly the trick Swami did to all devotees. The gifts he was giving is a little trick to attract us to him. He'd used a little trick to make us feel important. Even the Sai organization is a little trick to make us, so you are this coordinator, you are the chairman. The ego jumps around without realizing it's going to be demolished. Does it make sense to you?
Yes, it does. But when we make the ego our friend, then we can use it for sattvic.
Exactly.
Sattvic.
Exactly. Yes.
Yes?
Yes, we have to use the ego as a friend, but the problem is, this is the problem. See, every great man has certain mean streaks in him. Even the vile criminal has some great sense of sacrifice in him. So, what we should do is in life, we keep a few weaknesses thinking that it won't matter. This is very, very important. While we are encouraging the ego as a friend, we should not allow it to keep some few vices because it will come back and explode on us. We should develop a willpower so strong. That's why sadhana is important. Chanting the name of God is important. When anybody criticizes us, there is the truth. They are helping us. But we jump back. Who do you think you are? But the point is, we ourselves don't know who we are. We are challenging others. Who do we think we are? That's why Swami said when Socrates was walking, he bumped into Roman soldiers. Then the Roman soldiers said, "Who are you?" Then Socrates said, "Please tell me. That's what I'm trying to find out. I don't know who I am." So we have to have that sense of humility. And then Swami was the master in manipulating the egos to catch them by the scruff of the neck and make them find out it's folly. In this context, I remember something. See, we generally think man proposes and God disposes. Swami revealed to me this is a wrong statement. You're bringing God to the level of man. You're thinking God is sitting there. He's on par with man. He's jealous of man doing this thing right. So he's picking on things and making him fail. He said, God is not interested in your affairs. God does not proposes, but what God does is God exposes. Why do you do so many things? Swami said, you're doing so many things to please your ego. So when you fail, your ego is humiliated. So God is exposing to you. Why did you follow your ego? This is going to be your fate. Give up ego. Surrender this free will, which is nothing but an aspect of ego, to the divine.
Thank you very much for that clarification and further information, Dr. Shankar. I think this will be so beneficial for all of the spiritual part to understand how to navigate this ego. And it is said ego means etching God out.
Yes, absolutely.
So, Dr. Shankar, please share some closing remarks that you feel inclined to share as we bring this wonderful, not interview, but this wonderful divine secret conversation to an end.
Today is Easter Sunday. Today is the resurrection of Jesus Christ. He talked about the Christmas interview. We talked about how the cross, the symbolism of the cross, cutting across the eye, and we talked several things about resurrect the Jesus, the God principle in us. A life of selfishness, living a life based on unwanted desires, living a life hurting others, differentiating within each other, is actually being crucified. With every thought, with every word, every deed, we are crucifying ourselves, because when we hurt somebody, we are hurting ourselves. In fact, one guru told his disciple, when you point a finger, three are pointing to you. And the disciple told the Guru, Guru, I'm very smart. When I point my finger, when I point fault with somebody, I keep all my fingers pointing to him. We cannot play tricks like that. So when we hurt others, we hurt ourselves. We are crucifying ourselves. To rise above this meanness, we have to reach that inner core of silence. We have to listen to the voice of God within and obey that command implicitly. Question is, I have to honestly confess, do I do that? No, I don't do it often enough. I don't do it as much as I should do that will please Bhagwan. But I want to do it. I want to live that life of purity. I want every one of us to live that life of purity. Find that beautiful experience of silence within and guidance of Bhagwan Sri Satya Sai Baba guiding us every second of our lives. Jai Sai Ram. Thank you so much.
Dr. Shankar, the Sri Satya Sai Global Council of Trinidad and Tobago wishes to express gratitude and appreciation to you for taking the time to share the teachings, your perspective, and life experiences. It has been an absolute inspiration, a joy, and a privilege to have you once again on the series Awake, Unite, and Inspire. I know that we will never ever get tired of hearing you, listening to you, because you inspire all of us. May Bhagwan Sri Satya Sai Baba continue to bless and guide you. May you continue to be the loving instrument you are as his mission unfolds. Jai Sai Ram.
Sai Ram.